Hey there, fellas. All right, here we have a car. And this one is a champ. It's rocking a healthy engine. It's a super Lada. Now, I remember a few viewers requesting we replace the stock Lada ignition components with magnetos. So I've sourced 4 of these, which wasn't all that easy, given some of these are double contact, while others are single, like the 4 I've got laid out right here. The doubles would have been easier to install, of course, but we do have 4 cylinders, and so let's use a magneto for each one. We'll remove the battery and make an attempt to start the car without it. What's cool about these is that they don't need a power source, as in they're fully autonomous. We've already tried, they give you a good jolt. Alright, let's fit them and see how a Lada is going to behave on magnetos. Let's get to it. We've got a special merch offer for you, fellas, to brighten the mood in these turbulent times. Starting today, we'll be offering a mystery gift box. When purchasing the box, you're guaranteed to receive a certain selection of stuff from our shop, as well as the chance to win something big. You spend a fixed $30 price for the box, and you're guaranteed to receive a Garage 54 mug, a pair of socks, a sticker, an air freshener for your car, as well as a key fob. 1 out of 10 buyers will be sent an expensive gift on top of that, which could be a cap, t-shirt, hoodie, or a document holder. So we'll be putting something expensive into 1 out of every 10 boxes. If you'd like to support our channel and try your luck, there's going to be a link in the video description. We fit a tractor magneto to each cylinder in a Lada. Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Okay, the magnetos are in place, we're looking good, though there is still the issue of properly adjusting them. And that might get a bit complicated, the reason being that adjusting these involves, well, you gotta get the chain on, and then tune each magneto with its respective cylinder in top dead center. So you go from cylinder 1 to 3, then to 4, until you get them all. Now, the worst part about that is that you have to keep removing the chain. Anyway, I think it's time we put the sprockets in place, bolt them down, and get to what's most interesting. I'm referring to the process that's gonna demand the utmost precision, which is, I'm sure we'll figure it out. We don't have any other options. We've installed the 4 magnetos, now we have to tune each and every one of them. Alright, let's carry on. Okay, we've tuned the ignition. In true G54 fashion, as in randomly. And now we're about to do a test run. We'll be turning the engine using the starter, in order to, well, we don't want to use a hand crank. With how we've modified the nut, I don't even know how I'm gonna fit a hand crank. And so we're leading with the starter motor instead. You could have pulled the wires from the distributor, you know? Come on now. Seems to be backfiring. We're looking at severely premature ignition when I'm working the throttle. Oh, I see. Well, the pops tell us that we do have spark. That's a good start. There might be one more thing we can do. Let me think. It's premature. Are we all in agreement? Yeah, we seem to We seem to have miscalculated something. I also don't like the RPM on the magnetos. If you've ever tried starting an old motorcycle, when you forcefully kickstart that bitch, well, that actually requires considerable strength on your part. I guess we'll have to fit a bigger sprocket downstairs in order to get them to spin faster. I don't mind that we'll have double spark. That's during the compression stroke and the exhaust stroke. I mean, screw it. I don't see how it can backfire when the mixture is burnt out. A lot of production cars actually run a wasted spark system, where you've got one coil for 2 cylinders. And that doesn't result in anything nightmarish happening, right? Right, so we're gonna modify these to spin faster, amplify the spark, and at that point we'll continue fine-tuning the ignition. We definitely screwed up somewhere, but no worries. Let's do this. See, there it is up top. Oh yeah, there we go. Here's where we're at with this, fellas. We did replace the sprocket on the crankshaft. We are now running a bigger one to speed the magnetos up a bit and amplify the spark. Everything is dialed in, marked up, that's good. And right here I've got a so-called stroboscope. This is the device you use to adjust the ignition. And it proved to be very useful in this context, in that it helped us get the magnetos into the right position. So now they're going to be giving us spark exactly when we need it. And even though at the moment we are getting double spark, 2 for each cycle, once on compression and once during the exhaust stroke, I'm not worried about that at all. At the very least, that'll be easy to resolve. Again, there are a lot of cars out there where you've got 1 coil per 2 cylinders that generates a wasted spark. And that doesn't bear any horrific consequences. Now, hopefully this works the first time around. Okay, let's try starting it. Really? Hold up, dude. Oh, it already started? Okay then.
Все работает, причем работает очень даже хорошо. Отлично просто. Ага.
Wait a second. We totally forgot about... How do we switch it off?
Сюда, давай.
Oh, you want to do it like that?
Потому что
It's all because these are 100% mechanical,
без
as in they work without a power source. So they turn on and you got spark. Not a single wire connected to the distributor. They're all on the magnetos. The only reason we left the battery connected is to run the starter. Once the car is running, we can disconnect and remove the battery altogether. You want to maybe try push starting it? Get the battery out of there. I think it'll start beautifully with a push. And this should make for a 107% clean experiment. Okay, you ready? It's been a while since we've done this. Let's go. Oh, holy cow. That barely took any effort. Oh, wow. The system works very well. We only gave it a slight push. And it stalled. Now we gotta push it again.
Ай, блин. Ай, ты, блин.
Oh, it's trying to start?
О,
It starts wonderfully. It runs so smooth. Yeah, we got smooth engine operation. No misfiring, no nothing.
прям. Так.
Now we need to do a bit of testing. But then what's there to test? Let's show those guys over there what's up.
Что это такое?
Listen to what they have to say about this.
По этому поводу. Так.
If I may ask the experts, what do you think this is?
Что такое?
I'm scared to even imagine, Vlad. You're always rolling in with something weird. What do you mean? Listen to how great the engine operation is. You seriously don't know what that is? Notice how there's no battery, no unnecessary wiring,
Ничего нету.
yet the car runs.
Не знаю.
How do you not know what this is?
Как так-то?
What about you? My friend, I'm not gonna get hit in the face, am I? That is a legitimate risk.
Есть такой вариант.
So yeah, you might not want to get right in there.
Прям. Не должно быть.
Isn't this one awesome ignition system?
Вообще обалденная.
Most importantly, you don't need a battery.
Понимаешь?
Your sorcery scares me. Why so? I don't know. Don't be scared. You want to go for a ride?
Прокатись.
No? Is that the fear, or you don't know how to drive stick? I have no idea how to drive this concoction. I see. So what are those, magnetos? Of course those are magnetos. Listen to it run. Sounds very nice. And it started instantly.
Она бум и поехала.
You should try a hand crank.
Даже говорю,
Not the best option for a Lada motor.
он всегда не очень.
I mean, you might have a chance if the engine is still cold,
Может быть, есть какой-то шанс.
but once it's warmed up, not an option.
Греется всё уже.
You're better off push starting it.
Толкнуть.
Did you enjoy watching us push it?
Толкаем.
Put that back in.
Обратно.
Drive around, let's see how it behaves. This is quite awesome. We listened to the requests and fitted the magnetos, and everything works. It wasn't even all that hard to pull off. It didn't take much effort at all. I mean, you can literally cobble something like this together. This didn't require any complicated engineering. All you have to do is weld a few brackets, bolt it all down. Granted, you do have to play with the length of the chain. That is a timing chain, but yeah. You can lengthen and shorten it all you want. So yeah, setting this up is easy. Most importantly, it works, and quite well, as you can plainly see. The only real drawback is trying to start it. You're not starting it with a hand crank, that's for sure. I mean, that's difficult even with a stock Lada motor. After all, they are pretty rev-happy. Well, compared to like an engine for a Volga or an Uaz, both of those are pretty lazy, as are Moskvich motors, and so they're easy to hand crank start. But with this one, it's not nearly as easy. And so there's the inconvenience of having to push start it. So if you're alone and, God forbid, the car stalls, you're gonna have to push it home. Fit the battery so we don't have to push it? Yeah, I'm also not a big fan of having to push it. We have established it's a viable way to start the car. Yeah, let's put the battery back in. We know that it doesn't necessarily need it. No, I didn't hear it. It started making a noise back there. Well, yeah, because there's no phase angle. And it doesn't want to get up to peak revs. It tops out at about 4 grand. Can you maybe adjust the voltage or something? They actually can be adjusted, you do that by turning them. You want to know why it doesn't run at idle? Air control valve? Wait, why is it sneezing? Hey, these are magnetos, I mean, they can be finicky.
Кто ездил на такой технике?
Whoever has operated machinery that utilizes magnetos knows that sometimes out of nowhere they can refuse to generate a spark. You're like, why ain't it starting? Here you are spinning it, adjusting the clearance and so on, replacing condensers, and all of a sudden you have spark again. Sometimes you just have to leave it overnight and the following morning spark is back somehow. So yeah, it's one of those things. Whoa, it does rip, I can definitely tell you that. Oh, this is lovely. I like how it drives. Tremendous. But then I mean, why shouldn't it work? This is exactly what they were made for, after all. A magneto is a device that, well, they used to use them on bikes that you kickstart. Of course, when you retrofitted one to a motorcycle, you didn't have the juice to power the headlight, turn signals, and all of that. But those were times when we just didn't care. All we wanted was to ride. Even if we couldn't find a battery. They were hard to come by, and the ones we did have would keep going flat. Magnetos, on the other hand, those you could easily find in, like, I don't know, a village or a depot. You'd come up and ask if anybody had a magneto, and they'd give it to you. Yeah, switching it off is a bit troublesome. You have to do it in gear, but I mean, no biggie. Well, guys, we got this to work. We fitted a magneto to each of the 4 cylinders, and they work perfectly. A shining example of a 107% success rate. Okay, I see. The chain feels a bit hot. No problem. It's not really that big of a concern. After all, it is made from metal. Anyway, fellas, it works, everything is great. This was a really good one. You saw how easy it was to push start. You're like, and off you go. If anybody has ever ridden a motorcycle with like a 6-volt system, well, you didn't even really need a battery. It would have had a permanent magnet generator and it would have been super easy to push start. Yeah, man, those old bikes, they often had us on our feet back in the day. But hey, it was still a lot of fun. We'd do magneto conversions. Granted, we wouldn't have any working lights. But on the upside, you could easily push start such a machine. Or kickstart it if you prefer that. Hey, when these work, they do an absolutely wonderful job. And that's all I have for you, fellas. This was awesome. I'm really glad we got the suggestion. So keep them coming, comment, give us a big thumbs up. Alright, catch you later.